You think you can crawl away from this? Huh?
Please, please, I'm sorry. I didn't mean.
Shut it. You made your choice.
Try to help. I swear.
Look at me.
Please.
Ma'am, you need to leave. Now. The guard's hand tightened on her arm as laughter echoed behind polished glass. The scent of luxury cars filled the air, a world that had decided she didn't belong. They called her a beggar, a nuisance, a distraction, but none of them knew the truth. The woman they threw out wasn't there to beg. She was there to test them, and what they failed to see would cost them everything. This is the story of a dealership's downfall and a woman's quiet revenge. Comment your city below if you're watching this unfold. The morning sun painted the city in shades of gold, but for Amara, it was just another day of survival. Her worn-out shoes scraped against the cracked pavement as she shuffled past polished cars glinting behind glass walls. She had walked these streets 1,000 times before, invisible to those who refused to see her. To them, she was just another beggar, a face among many, someone to pity or ignore. But today was different. She stood across from Titan Motors, the city's most prestigious car dealership, a place where luxury lived behind tinted glass and smiles came with price tags. Amara watched through the window as a group of sharply dressed men laughed beside a gleaming silver sedan. Their voices echoed with arrogance, their laughter bouncing off marble floors. She smiled faintly, though no one noticed. It wasn't joy. It was something more profound, sharper. A secret that rested quietly behind her calm eyes. In her tattered coat pocket lay a single crumpled note, the last reminder of who she used to be, before everything changed. Before people stopped meeting her eyes. Before the world decided she didn't belong. She took a deep breath, clutching the strap of her faded bag. She wasn't here to beg. Not today. She was here for something far more critical. A test of truth, of character, of how people treated those they thought were beneath them. Inside, laughter erupted again. One of the men pointed at her through the glass, whispering something that made the others smirk. She looked away, pretending not to notice. But her heart was steady. Her silence wasn't weakness. It was power waiting to be revealed. Little did they know. The woman they mocked was about to change everything they thought they knew about worth, dignity, and justice. The moment Amara stepped through the glass doors, the air shifted. Conversations paused. Heads turned. The scent of polished leather and expensive perfume clashed with the faint smell of rain and dust that followed her in. She could feel their eyes crawling over her frayed coat, her rough hands, her tired face. She had seen that look before, the quiet judgment that stripped a person of their humanity before a single word was spoken. A young receptionist behind the counter froze mid-sentence. "Can I help you?" she asked, her voice tight, polite but trembling with disdain. Amara nodded softly. "Yes," she said. "I'm here to see a car." The words hung in the air like an offense. A few customers turned, amused. A salesman nearby chuckled under his breath, whispering something to his colleague. They laughed, the kind of laugh that carried cruelty in its echo. One of them, tall and self-assured, stepped forward, his smile sharp and rehearsed. "Ma'am," he said, emphasizing the word like an insult, "we don't take donations here. Maybe you're looking for the community shelter across the street." Amara didn't flinch. She simply looked around, at the marble floor, the sleek cars, the glimmering logo on the wall that bore her family's name. None of them noticed. None of them cared enough to ask. "I'm not lost," she replied softly. "I just wanted to see the new model." The salesman's smile faltered. "This isn't a place for looking," he said. "These cars are worth more than your life." The words stung the air, drawing quiet gasps from nearby staff. Still no one intervened. No one spoke up. Her humiliation was entertainment. The security guard approached, his boots heavy against the floor, his tone firm. "Ma'am, I think it's time for you to leave." Amara met his gaze, calm, composed, almost amused. "Of course," she said, her voice steady. "If that's what you think is right." He reached for her arm, not roughly, but with enough pressure to make it clear she didn't belong. The onlookers smirked. A woman whispered, "Disgusting." Another added, "People like her should stay where they belong." Amara was led to the door. She stumbled slightly as the guard pushed it open. The sound of laughter followed her out into the street, sharp, piercing, unforgettable. For a moment, she stood still, watching her reflection in the dealership's window. Behind her image, she could see the men, laughing, shaking their heads, congratulating themselves for keeping their precious showroom clean. She smiled faintly, not in defeat, but in quiet anticipation. They thought they had erased her. But what they didn't know was that the cameras inside the dealership had captured every word, every sneer, every act of cruelty. What they didn't realize was that this test, this cruel, ordinary day, was being documented for a reason. Amara straightened her coat, dusted her hands, and turned back toward the building. The laughter inside had already begun to fade, but the lesson they were about to learn was only beginning. An hour later, the laughter inside Titan Motors was abruptly silenced by the sound of heels striking the marble floor. Every head turned. The same woman they had thrown out, the same one they mocked, was back. But this time, she wasn't alone. Two men in tailored suits flanked her side, followed by a camera crew and the dealership's regional director, his face pale as paper. The salesman froze, confusion spreading like wildfire. "Good afternoon," the director began, his voice tight. "Allow me to introduce you to Ms. Amara Cole, the majority shareholder and silent owner of Titan Motors." The room went still. The same receptionist who had refused to meet Amara's eyes now trembled behind the counter. The salesman who mocked her turned white, his confident grin collapsing into horror. Amara stood at the center of the room, calm, radiant, and unbothered. "Earlier today," she said softly, "I came here not as your employer, but as someone you would never respect, someone you'd look down on. And you showed me exactly who you are." Her voice didn't rise, but every word cut through the silence like glass. This dealership was built on integrity, on fairness, but today I saw neither. The camera's red light blinked, capturing everything. The men shifted, their arrogance dissolving into shame. Amara turned to leave, her expression unreadable. "The test is over," she said quietly. "And so are your jobs. Dear audience, where are you watching from? Drop your city name in the comments." In the days that followed, the story of what happened at Titan Motors spread across the city, first through whispers, then through headlines. The footage from that day went viral, the laughter, the insults, the humiliation, and finally, the moment of truth. People couldn't look away. Amara never intended to expose anyone. Her goal wasn't revenge, it was revelation. She wanted the world to see what dignity looked like when tested, what prejudice looked like when it thought no one was watching. And she succeeded. The faces of those who mocked her became symbols of a deeper problem, one that ran far beyond the glass walls of a single dealership. The company released a statement promising new training, diversity initiatives, and reforms. But for Amara, change was never about press releases or apologies. It was about hearts, the quiet transformation that begins when people confront their own bias. Weeks later, she walked through that same showroom again, dressed simply, as always. No cameras, no entourage, no announcement. This time, the employees greeted her with genuine warmth. Some lowered their eyes in regret. Others, she could tell, were still learning. As she looked around, she smiled, not out of triumph, but out of hope. Because the truth she had revealed wasn't just theirs to face. It belonged to everyone. How many times, she wondered, must someone be humiliated before humanity finally learns to see beyond appearances? Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more powerful stories that open eyes and hearts.